Malta's armed forces have taken control of a tanker that was hijacked by refugees and migrants rescued at sea. The ship has arrived at a Maltese port with military personnel on board. 4 people have been handcuffed and escorted off the vessel. The incident comes only a day after the EU decided to suspend maritime patrols in the Mediterranean, which has so far rescued thousands of people. Instead, they will only now rely on air patrols. Joining me now is Bertrand Berg. He's a senior journalist for the Times of Malta in Valletta. Welcome to you, Bertrand. What is going to happen to the refugees on the boat? What is their current situation?
Well, they've been brought to shore now. They were brought to shore at around 9:30 this morning. We can assume this is what we know for sure is that 5 have been arrested. It was 4. Now we've confirmed it was 5. 5 of the 108 have been arrested and taken into police custody. Presumably the remaining ones will apply for asylum.
And Bertrand, what are you hearing there about what exactly happened on the ship? Reports suggest the refugees panicked when they heard they would be taken to Libya.
That's the information we have too. What appears to have happened is that the refugees were they were trying to cross the Mediterranean. They ran into trouble, and a commercial tanker, the El Heblu 1, picked them up at some point yesterday morning. The captain began taking them back to Tripoli, but when they were around 6 nautical miles from the Libyan coast, this small group of 5-6 people, and it looks like it was 5, seemed to have rounded on the captain and his crew and ordered him to change course and forced him to head north. We found out that the situation was the ship was heading towards Malta essentially yesterday evening. It arrived. The Maltese Coast Guard intercepted it some point early in this morning, 3-4 a.m. And thankfully, the intervention was a pacific one. There seems to have been no violence. The AFM, the Armed Forces of Malta, took control of the vessel and led it to Maltese ports.
Now, as I mentioned, the European rescue mission, Sophie, has been stopped. Now, does this latest incident indicate that refugees are going to use more and more desperate means to come to Europe?
It's hard to tell. My personal sense is that this could be a turning point, but not rather than for the refugees themselves, for the migrants themselves, rather for policymakers. Let's remember that although Sophia was officially stopped yesterday, it had effectively been dead in the water for almost a year. The last Sophia rescue mission took place, I believe, in June or July of last year, and its peak was back in 2016. So for the past couple of years, there hasn't been all that much in terms of an official EU rescue. So most migrant rescues were happening through other means. What I get the sense is that the questions that arise now is what will happen to the 5 people who were arrested? Will they be charged and sentenced to Malta, or will they be deported back to Libya? And how will EU member states now handle the inevitable pressure that comes from the commercial shipping sector, who will say, well, although there's an international obligation to rescue people at sea, how do we handle that?
Right, that's a difficult and complicated question. Bertrand Berg in Valletta, thank you very much for your reporting.